Well, with the structure complete, we can start to put the finishing touches on our building model by adding components. You can add all sorts of different components to your projects, and they fall into two general categories: model components and site components. The process is identical for both. Let's look at adding site components first, and then we'll add a few building components later on. So I'm going to begin by switching to the site plan view. I'll also click on the Massing and Site tab of the ribbon. Next, I'll click the Site Component icon. The Revit library has tons of different components. In this template, however, all that's loaded up right now are a family of different trees. So I'll choose a tree from the drop-down. Now all I need to do is click to place the trees in the project. Pretty easy, right? Sure. And when you're done placing trees, just press the Escape key to exit the tool. After you've placed the trees, you can select them by clicking them, and you can use the dimensions to locate it if you want. Okay, let's add some more components. I'm going to click the Site Component icon again. This time, I'll press Edit Type. I'll load up a new family. Let's load up some shrubs. If I expand the drop-down menu, you can see all of the different types within this family. I'm going to go ahead and load up the magnolia type and place one in on the site. Keep in mind, all of your modify tools are still available to you, so if you want to align, move, rotate, or create an array, you can do that really easily. So I'll select the magnolia I just added and create an array. I'll select a base point, space the instances, and enter a value for the total number of instances I'd like to create. Now let's switch to the 3D view and see how everything looks. Alright, you can see the planning components we just added. Right now, they're gray and not very exciting, but if we render an image later, they'll appear much more realistic. Okay, let's add a few model components, say toilets to our bathrooms. The process is the same. I switch to the first floor plan view. Click the component icon on the Home tab of the ribbon. And we were just placing site components, so if I click Edit Type and try to load up a different type of component, for example, this toilet, Revit gives me an error. Instead, the way to load a new family of components is by clicking on the Load Family icon on the ribbon. Now I'll browse the library for the new component. Revit lets me know that there are no annotation tags loaded for plumbing fixtures, and asks me if I'd like to load one now so that I could automatically add tags to the plumbing fixtures as I place them, like we saw with doors and windows earlier. I could load one, but I'll instead click No to keep the lesson moving. The Revit library has lots of components already included in it, and you can download additional components from the web. You can load up everything from kitchenettes, toilets, cabinetry, cars, and even people. When you're placing components, you can use the spacebar to quickly rotate your components. You could use the flip arrows if you prefer. Once the components are placed, you can click them to select them, edit the dimensions or other properties. Like we saw with the shrubs, all the modify tools are available to you as well. Say, should you want to align and lock components, for example. Okay, I'm going to switch to the second floor and add a toilet there as well. I'll click the component icon and use the underlay to position this toilet right above the lower one. And you can continue to add many components to detail your project to whatever level you want. Quite literally, I could go on for hours, if not days, furnishing the house, adding cabinetry, and so on and so forth. Feel free to get creative and have fun adding components to whatever level of detail your project requires. In the interest of time, I'm not going to add any more components to this project and call this a completed project so that we can begin looking at creating different views, renderings, and documentation for our building model.